Hi, sixth graders. This is Selin teacher speaking, and let's start our video. It is the 22nd of March week. Open your books, please. Page 54, student's book, of course. Okay. We start with the revision part. Here we revise the unit 4. Here we will complete the blanks with the idioms for strong emotions. Let's see. The first one, I took John's tablet without asking and he just saw red. 2. The film was so scary that it made my hair stand on end. 3. Our team won the match and we jumped for joy. 4. I was so frustrated with waiting for my friend that I was tearing my hair out. 5. He was really excited and nervous about meeting his favorite pop star, so he had butterflies in his stomach. 6. If you can do that bungee jumping, then you must have nerves of steel. 7. The dog suddenly barked so loudly that I jumped out of my skin. After this exercise, we complete the blanks with the descriptive adjectives and adverbs. 1. He sat his reading book quietly, because here it is adverb. 2. The children were in the garden playing happily. Again, playing happily, it's adverb. 3. You are so annoying, said his sister. As you see, we use annoying, adjective annoying with to be, so annoying. 4. That was a really nice dinner, thank you. Nice dinner, it's an adjective again. I found that exam really easy. The exam is easy, so it's adjective again here. Grammar part, relative clauses and relative pronouns. We will add phrases who, which, or that. Example, he saw a man. The man used to be a detective. She saw a man who used to be a detective. We used with who. And number 2, they called a nurse. The nurse lived nearby. They called the nurse who lived nearby. 3. I sent an email to my friend. My friend lives in France. I sent an email to my friend who or that lives in France. 4. He likes books. The books are about real people. He likes books that or which are about real people. 5. I lost my scarf. The scarf was new. I lost my scarf. That or which was new. After the grammar part 3, we pass indefinite pronouns part 4. We will correct the false sentences which is about indefinite pronouns. For example, there is something in the house. Who is it? The wrong one is something. We should change it. Okay. There is someone or there is somebody in the house. Who is it? 2. I searched nowhere, but my pet dog was anywhere to be found. Nowhere and anywhere, they are false. We should change them. I searched everywhere, but my pet dog was nowhere to be found. 3. I didn't know no one at the party. It is false. We should change no one. I didn't know anyone or anybody at the party. 4. I was so worried about the exam that I revised everyone. Everyone is false here. So I was so worried about the exam that I revised everything. 5. If anyone really enjoyed the school concert, anyone is false. We should say everyone or everybody really enjoyed the school concert. After that part 5, we use the correct answer of countable and uncountable nouns. I'm looking for a lemon to make my dessert. We don't have any lemons left. Why don't you buy some? Okay, how many shall I buy? 6 is enough. And we only have a little ice cream. I'll buy some more. We only have a few apples. I'll get some more. Yes, good idea. Get some more, maybe 3 or 4. Okay, now everyday English part. Here we complete the blanks with expressing surprise with did, have, kidding, and really. Hey Jet, how are you? Not really well. I crashed my bike. Did you? You're kidding. I've hurt my arm too. Have you? Really? Yes, I had to go to the doctor's. Did you? Poor you. And after this everyday English part, we looked at the learning to learn, improving your listening skills. And turn the page. We continue with the next page. Here there is the my project part. We read them. We have read them in the lessons, and I gave you a homework to prepare a project. You will send it to me. Okay, I can pass that part. And now culture part. Do you know who Sherlock Holmes is? Have you seen any films or heard any stories? What do you know about him? We read this part and we answered the questions. For example, let's start reading first. Sherlock Holmes, the world's most famous detective. Sherlock Holmes is the most famous detective in the world. He lives in the 221B Baker Street in London. He plays the violin, he likes very few people, and he has a brilliant problem-solving mind. Sherlock Holmes is in the Guinness Book of Records because he is the most portrayed character in film and TV history. Arthur Conan Doyle was a Scottish doctor who was invented in the very new science of forensic. He was worried that too many innocent people were going to prison. So he invented Sherlock Holmes and his forensic methods of crime detecting. The first stories appeared in 1887 and were extremely popular. But 6 years later, Conan Doyle got fed up with Sherlock Holmes and killed Sherlock's character in a story. The public was furious and demanded that Conan Doyle brought Sherlock back to life. So Conan Doyle wrote 56 stories and 4 novels over 40 years. He helped to make crime drama the popular genre it is today. Okay, here, let's answer the questions. Sherlock Holmes lives in London, it's true. He can play the flute, it's false. He can play the violin. He's in the Guinness Book of Records, that's true. Arthur Conan Doyle was an English policeman, it's false. He's a doctor. Sherlock Holmes died and came back to life, it's true. Now there is a quiz here. I'm reading the questions. We will see the answers later. Sherlock Holmes is famous for thinking carefully about a crime. Can you do the same? 1. A family lives on the 10th floor of a building. There is a primary school on the ground floor. Every day the son goes to school. He takes the lift from the family's flat on the 10th floor to the ground floor. When he goes home in the afternoon, he uses the lift to get to the 5th floor and then uses the stairs for the other 5 floors. Why? And the second question, a father and son have a car accident. They are both badly hurt and ambulances take them to different hospitals. The boy needs an operation to save his life. The doctor comes in and says, I can't do the operation on this boy. Why not? Asks the nurse. Because he's my son, the doctor answers. How is this possible? 3. Jack said, this is my money, not yours. I found it between 15 and 16 on my Harry Potter book. Jill said, you're lying and I can prove it. How did Jill know? 4. Two mothers and 2 daughters went to eat out. Everyone ate a burger, yet only 3 burgers got eaten. How is this possible? I'll open the answers, wait. But at the same time we will listen the answers. Wait.
Track 38.
Yeah.
Page 56. Exercise 5. 1.
Because he is very short and he can't reach the buttons higher than number 5.
2.
The doctor is the boy's mother.
3.
Jill knew that Jack was lying because all books have even numbers on the left page and odd numbers on the right page. So page 16 would be on the back of page 15.
4.
They were a grandmother, mother and daughter.
Okay. The thinking skills are really good, so that's why I like Sherlock Holmes. Okay, and now after this part we can pass the next page. But before it, there's a video, let's watch.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle invented Sherlock Holmes in 1888. Crime was already a popular subject for fiction, but Sherlock Holmes was the first of a special kind of detective, a scientific detective. The work of the police is as important today as it was in 1888. However, it isn't always very exciting. A police officer like P.C. Gerber spends a lot of his day in the office filling in forms, or just walking around the city helping people who are lost. His job becomes more interesting when it needs some detective work. For something like graffiti, P.C. Gerber can collect evidence from the crime scene himself. He doesn't carry a gun, but he does carry a camera. However, when there is a more serious crime, the police need forensic specialists to help their detection work. Today, we see lots of forensic scientists at work in TV and films. But what is forensic science? Dr. Caroline Morton leads the courses in forensic science at the University of the West of England in Bristol.
Forensic science is using science to help investigate crimes and then bring evidence to court. There's a range of evidence that's very useful. The best would be something like DNA or fingerprint evidence.
We all know that real investigations can't be exactly like they are in our favourite TV shows. But how different is the reality of forensic science from the fiction? Dr. Morton helps to train investigators in a special crime scene house. The house has got lots of rooms that look like real crime scenes. She explains some of the important differences between fiction and reality.
The first thing that happens is a crime scene is sealed off.
When the police seal off a crime scene, they stop everyone going in. Then a team of forensic scientists carefully make a lot of important decisions before they enter the crime scene. They don't show this on TV. It's not very exciting. Forensic scientists have to wear special suits, gloves, and masks. They can't leave any of their own evidence at the crime scene.
One of the big issues with television dramas generally is that one or two people do the work of maybe 40 professionals in the real world. It makes for more interesting television, but real jobs tend to be more specialised.
This means that the scientists work as part of a team. one person collecting fingerprints, somebody else taking photographs. Everyone has got a special job. Another important difference is that in fiction,
they expect the police to solve crimes very, very quickly, to always find perfect evidence. They expect the evidence to prove guilt and prove what happened. And dramas are always starting with the ending known, and you work a story towards that end. Real situations start with the ending unknown. You start not knowing who the offender was, not knowing if you will find them.
Psychologists. These scientists study the mind of a suspect or criminal. They try to discover the reasons for someone's behavior. Mobile device expert. These people can get evidence from mobile phones, tablets and GPS devices. DNA analysts. These people look at DNA samples from the crime scene to identify suspects. This evidence is very important because it shows who was at the crime scene. Now, the history of forensic science. Forensic science is the use of science in solving a crime, but before the 19th century, judges had to rely on what people said about a crime. They listened to witnesses and the suspect and tried to decide who was telling the truth. There were obviously a lot of problems with this form of justice. Many innocent people went to prison and very good liars went free. In the 19th century, poison was a very good common way to murder someone. In 1832, a British chemist called James Marsh gave evidence in a murder trial. John Brodie was accused of murdering his grandfather, but he said he was innocent. Marsh tested the murdered man's drink and found poison, but the results of the test didn't last long enough to show the jury, so the son walked free. Marsh was so annoyed by this that he invented a much better test after this. Murderers used poison a lot less. It was the beginning of forensic science. Okay, here there are some questions. Let's look at them. Look at the pictures. What can you see? What is forensic science? Let's look at the photos again and give the answers. Oh yeah. Photo 1 shows a scientist wearing special gloves and holding a brush to look at fingerprints, which are visible on the glass. Picture 2 shows an old-fashioned court with two judges, the accused, a witness, lawyers in wigs, other court officials. Forensic science is the collection, examination and analysis of evidence left at the scene of a crime. Okay, the other questions are here. The questions about the test, student A and student B's questions. They work at crime scenes in a laboratory. They study the mind of a suspect and try to find reasons for their behavior. He or she knows how to get evidence from technological devices. It identifies suspects. Now students B's answers. In the 19th century, they were judged by what they said in court. People who were good liars got off, and those who weren't good at speaking were convicted even if they were innocent. It depended on who the judge believed. Although his tests showed the man was guilty, the results didn't last long enough to bring to the trial. A guilty man walked free. He devised a better test. Okay, this week we finished. We are about to finish Unit 4. Okay, Thank you for watching the video. Look at your answers again. See you. Happy weekend for you. Goodbye.